Hi, my name's Christopher Anatra. You know me as the Quantum Businessman. And I am here with Ileana and Sean Bond. And our subject today is going to be Aldebaran. So first of all, I want to talk to Ileana because a lot of people that watch this podcast may not know who you are. So if you were to introduce yourself to someone that knows absolutely nothing about you, what would you say?
So my name is Ileana, the Star Traveler. I'm a psychic, I'm a channeler, I'm an intuitive. I also do energy healing and shamanic work, doing past life readings, past life regression, soul retrieval, and a lot of other interesting things. So I've been doing this work for almost 7 years now, and I have some interesting information as well about Aldebaran, which I channeled on my website. So I know some stuff about Aldebaran, and we are all bringing bits and pieces, I think, today to expand on this topic. And my website is Messages from a Star Traveler. People can just type it in online through any search engine and it'll pop up.
So Sean, before we begin, do you have any impressions about Aldebaran?
All kinds. I mean, a lot of different ET stuff comes to me and interacts and telepathy, and I go as part of the Psionic League. I go into unlocking dormant abilities and getting everything up online. Started with science, started skeptical, and then saw UFOs and like had a lot of memory loss and things, pain and emotional overwhelm that I ended up finding out was through psionic influence and what I call attacker, in being a target individual. And then as I track that back, it goes into like, oh, there's other species. Oh, there's stuff in inner Earth. Oh, there's things in ships and that are monitoring things. And so like negative and positive, been able to go into, and then the different DNA of the human body that we inherited, and tracking each of those back, and some of them applying to different star systems besides what they have in home base here. And then with Aldebaran, or Aldebaran, whatever you want to go into.
Yeah, I know Aldebaran, potato, yeah.
There's a lot. I mean, there's a lot going in history with we talk about with the Vril Society, Nazi Germany, going into their contactees, the Nordics. There's different factions of Orion Nordics that they kind of like branch off with, and they also have a hybridization type of thing going on, and they accumulate a lot of interesting genetics with certain abilities they're looking for, and they've gotten good at some things. They also have things trying to incur on them with negative ET factions and wars that they've been a part of. Things with John D and Angelics, and seeing that we can go into all that.
Exactly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read a couple of things. This first thing I'm going to read from Wikipedia, just so people have an idea about Aldebaran, how it's officially described. It says Aldebaran, designated Alpha Tauri, is a giant star measured to be about 65 light years from the sun in the zodiac constellation Taurus. It is the brightest star in Taurus and generally the 14th brightest star in the night sky, though it varies slowly in brightness between magnitude 0.75 and 0.95. Aldebaran is believed to host a planet several times the mass of Jupiter, named Aldebaran B. So that's a little bit of information about Aldebaran from Wikipedia. And then to go to another level of Aldebaran, more of the, we'll call it the spiritual level of Aldebaran, I'm going to read to you some information from the site called Ascension Glossary. And basically what it says is the great red giant, warlike Aldebaran, is one of the 4 royal stars, or guardians of heaven, sentinels watching over other stars. It forms one of the 4 royal stars of Persia as Watcher of the East. The 4 royal stars are also called archangel stars. Aldebaran represents Michael. Regulus is for Raphael. Antares is for Uriel. And Fomalhaut is for Gabriel. They are the brightest stars in the constellations and are considered the 4 guardians of the heavens. And then one more thing, there's a concept called the family of Michael. The family of Michael are blue ray descendants of the first order founder ray of Melchizedek's that are the guardians of the East through the 4 royal stars in Taurus. So that's some information about Aldebaran, what we're talking about. And I think this is going to be a really important podcast because there's really not a lot of information out there about Aldebaran. So it's going to be really fascinating to see what comes through to you, Ileana, and you as well, Sean, as we get into this and talk about this a little bit more. So Ileana, how would you describe what you do next as far as like connecting or channeling or how that works?
Yeah, so I either do intuitive channeling, which is me going to have a look at the place, the people, what's in Aldebaran, or I can channel beings. If I knew who to connect to specifically, a being in Aldebaran, I could channel that being. So I could do either or. And what I intuitively picked up about Aldebaran already is that there's Aldebaran councils of beings that have various energetic abilities to form planets, to form constellations, to purify water. So their abilities allow them to do certain things energetically that they vibrate on, and they're on these different councils based on their abilities and what they could do with psionics and telepathy. So this is the first thing I pick up about Aldebaran is there's a lot of strong beings that are very energetic and can do things like move planets, create universes, stuff like that. And the other thing that I already know about Aldebaran that I intuitively channel is there's several water planets on Aldebaran that have species that are very telepathic. And when they speak or when they sing, particularly the females of the species, they're able to manipulate people's minds and put thought forms in their minds. So people will want to do something that they previously didn't even think about doing. And that's mind programming. It can be positive or negative. So these beings, I would call them like the sirens. What we have on Earth as siren mythology, these actual beings exist on Aldebaran, on these water planets. So they have that telepathic ability to do that with their minds, particularly the female species. The males don't really do that. They don't think it's ethical. So the males of those species don't do that. It's just the females. So this is what I know about Aldebaran, in that these females also do pass on their wisdom knowledge of what it means to live underwater, what it means to heal the waters, what it means to be the wisdom keepers of anything to do with water and purification and planetary protection. So they do have certain wisdom schools, and they teach people about that as well. So the siren protection thing that they do with their voice, it's protection. They don't purposely control people's minds. They only do that if they need to protect themselves or their species against threat. That's when that happens.
Okay, that makes sense. I've definitely heard of the sirens for sure. I may have even had maybe even a past life interaction with them, being a sailor. There's stories about like sailors being attracted to the song of the sirens, that type of a thing.
Yeah, and they have interestingly blue-gray skin and sometimes green skin. Some of them have long, shimmering purple-black hair. Some don't have hair, and some have scales. So there's several different types of species in Aldebaran. They look humanoid. It's just variations on facial features.
Gotcha. So Sean, what's coming through to you as far as, you mentioned the Vril before, and that's a very fascinating subject because that goes back to pre-World War II, you know, Germany, that type of thing. But how would you want to describe like the Vril and how they're part of Aldebaran? Unless you want to talk about the sirens first.
Sure, we can go on a bunch of that.
Yeah, because I could tell you've got something you want to share about the sirens as well.
Yeah, so a lot, so yeah, like open with that. I'm reading, like she said, there's like a few different species, like that are higher sentient, in the area, like including the water-faring, the mammalian land, kind of Nordic looking ones, the ones that, there's an insectoid one, there's a reptoid one, and then ones from non-local locations that are coming there. They seem to have put a lot of their cards, to speak, in evolution into the path of psionics and psychic abilities and like knowingness and telepathy, and going deeper into gaining information and knowledge and seeing things. So they have a high level in that regard. They appear to, the Nordic ones I'm mostly talking about, but also like some of the other ones, have gone into genetic engineering, have combined over 100 different like lineages of DNA into their species to add capabilities, gone pretty highly into DNA magic as well. I'm looking at a bunch of different things with DNA magic, where they inherited things such as thought, besides thought influence, go into sexual magic, into advanced will and motivation to get things done, and even to the point of like a defense mechanism of destruction, or like stopping a heart, like in Men That Stare at Goats type of thing, for defense. They yeah, with the Vril one, with what, I'm not the biggest expert on it, but it's like a cult, secret society order within Nazi Germany of mostly women that are oracle psychics, and then using the technology passed down from John Dee of how to contact angels, and going into other channeling and skill sets, seancing and other Blavatsky esoteric knowledge, and tapping in and contacting other beings that then describe to them as Aldebarans, and some higher dimensional ones, different ones that contacted them, and they have some interesting things with the type of personality the women were involved in the group. What type of souls they were was pretty interesting to look into, pretty high powered in authority. And I also heard that there's a male version of their society also in the Nazi Germany that's less known about, and not as like they're good at different things, more in accumulating occult knowledge and magic than tapping into their divine power, and also channeling and getting information that and I heard that was used to help the Nazis gain knowledge and wisdom and blueprints for things like that they would go into with the Nazi Bell, and having ET ship blueprints kind of like downloaded to them, and then them sharing that, and then putting a lot into propulsion. Their big technological invention bursts that have propelled that culture. Then interesting concepts of what they brought in. I think there's some books on it, and I haven't seen too many. Most of it's in German, so it's not easiest to get. And some of the journals that were kept by them are also mostly being kept by the families that are passed down through it. But people can look, even though it's covered up mostly in history, a lot of the cult nature of the Nazis and how they're accumulating artifacts and knowledge and stealing from old libraries around in the places they invaded.
Wasn't her name like Maria Orsic, who was one of
Yes.
the people? Yeah, that she had downloaded information and the Nazis used that maybe for anti-gravity technology.
Yeah, I'm picking up a lot of things about Maria Orsic, that she actually got the blueprints from the Nordics to build the anti-gravity craft. And it's in a very old language. So it's like hieroglyphics between Egyptian, Syrian, Anunnaki. That's what the languages were mixed together, but she could read it because she was a psychic. And she also connected to the sirens, and they taught her about life expansion energies, how to use the Vril energy to extend life to I guess, make yourself younger and extend your life force energy using the Vril energy so that you don't age, because these sirens can live for thousands of years. That's what I'm picking up. So this is what they taught Maria Orsic as well. And eventually she escaped the Vril society and escaped Nazi Germany and went to Aldebaran, and she was taken in by the sirens as for sanctuary. So this is what I'm picking up about Maria Orsic.
Wow, that's really cool. I wonder if she's someone that you might could channel as an example.
Yeah, I could try. Yeah, but you guys would have to ask questions of her because through the channeling.
Okay. Okay, so we'll keep that in mind. And Sean, is there like, so I just mentioned Maria Orsic, but is there anyone else related to Aldebaran that might be a candidate for Ileana to channel?
Like human or Aldebaran like authority?
Probably, well, let's go with an authority if they would want to be channeled.
Okay, so let's see. Like I'll look for somebody that's nice, pure, and not of any like shadiness. There's like a bunch stepping forward. 1 second. How would I describe them?
I need a name. Like
Yeah,
a
right.
name.
I mean, let me describe like what they are. Okay. Can you channel the highest divine feminine planet Berthera of that Aldebaran location that would have spawned most of the higher sentience in that solar system? As I'm reading, that would be a good one.
So the planet is named Berthera.
No, well, I don't. It's
Yeah,
not really
because-
on maps.
Yeah, so as long as I know the planetary name, I could try. I've never tried channeling a planet. I usually channel beings, like knowing their name. Like I could channel Archangel Michael. I could channel different beings as long as I know their name. I could try to channel a planet so it's sentient and it can speak and everything. So, and its name is Berthera.
No, it's a divine feminine birther of life and the speed.
Okay, so I'll tap into the name Berthera then, because I need to tap into something.
Feel into the
Yeah.
greatest divine feminine frequency in the solar system, and that would probably be it.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of them. There's more than one. So I'll use the name Berthera then. And so give me a second. I have to form the connections. I am the divine goddess, the divine mother. I am green. I'm a green world. I'm called Berthera. That is the name of the planet that I am. Who is I? Berthera. I've spawned and created many beings of lineages of 20 different genetic lineages, if you would call. Some of you call them hybrids. We've mixed many mermaids insectoids, anything that comes from nature, we have hybridized on my planet. So a lot of things coming from the insectoid world, from the mermaid world, from the oceans, the seas. We have created many different healers of reptilians as well, many different Nordics, and even what you call the Anunnaki. Some of them came from us, from my world. And I am a genetic planet. I can create whatever genetics you would like. So I have over 4,000 different genetic modulations that I can create in the species that I can birth. I am of the highest divine feminine, like your Sean mentioned. I create life, and I can also take life if need be and remove the genetic modifications that come from my children's. I don't do that often, only if something happens that shouldn't be in existence, but that is rare. So I can create many genetic lineages, many different beings. Everything comes from nature. I am mostly 80% water world. So I birth beings of water, and I birth beings of land as well, but mostly water-based. I am the creator of life. I am the source of many beings that now inhabit Aldebaran, the star system. And there are 20 more planets like this in this universe, like I, who create life and genetics. And I create many hybrids of different species because hybrids are very resilient, and they're willing to go out and learn and explore things in the universe. So they don't all stay on my world. They go out, they inhabit other worlds on Aldebaran and other star systems and galaxies. Their purposes of exploration and bringing back knowledge and adding to the archive of my planet to create new existences. Do you have any questions for me?
Have you had any interactions with what's considered what we call the family of Michael?
The family of Michael has its own collective that is separate from me. I did not create the family of Michael. They came separately to Aldebaran. So they have their own councils and factions and protectorates. I know of their Mesoldac energies, the blue healing energies of them, but I don't directly interact with them on a regular basis. They are not of my creation.
What is the status of the solar system that you're in now?
We have some factions of Nordics that like to create things that should not be. And we have also what is called elements of the Dark Fleet in Aldebaran that the family of Michael and their protectorates are trying to remove their bases from Aldebaran. We do not want anything to do with Dark Fleet in our solar system. They are a stain on this universe, and they've created many wars on Earth and on other planets, and a lot of their secrets is what caused the Lyran Wars, what caused the destabilization of many worlds, and it still happens to this day. Dark Fleet has been around for many eons, beginning with the Orion reptilians, the Greys, and others. The family of Michael is trying to remove the vestiges of Dark Fleet from Aldebaran. It is not an easy task, but cleanup is happening because we don't want the remnants of Dark Fleet hiding in Aldebaran and influencing humans and humanoid-like species.
Sean, do you have any questions?
What are some of the biggest wounds that are being looked at in remedy for the solar system?
Allowing humans to remember their pasts, removing this amnesia veil that is humanity that most humans are born with, some to this day. So this is the greatest wound to remove, so people will know the true history of this particular universe and the solar systems, So removing this wound is important so that people can remember the true history of Earth, of Aldebaran, and other worlds that were birthed in this universe, what we call the known universe. Remembering the history of all that was and is important. The history is being hidden as amnesia in people. But when you activate what you humans call the junk DNA, when you activate those codes, it releases people's memories of past life collectives, of universal history, and this heals the wounds because many people are wondering who they are and what their soul purposes and missions are on Earth, but they can't remember it. So activating the DNA codes of the junk DNA, because that is not junk DNA, it helps to heal the wounds of species and release the knowledge and information stored in your cellular memory of that DNA. So this is the release of that wound. As people need to know who they were and who they are and what the true galactic history is of this universe. It's not just one solar system, it's of the universe itself.
What's Aldebaran's mission with Earth?
To teach and guide humanity into its evolutionary nexus hub in the next 100 years so that Earth can evolve to a higher species platform and what you would call the Kardashev scale of human evolution, cleaning up the planet, removing the dark forces that are, some of them are still here, removing them and their influences, and balancing the light so it is more than 50% active on Earth, and rejuvenation and healing of the peoples and the planet itself, cleaning up all the pollution, cleaning up the negative programming, what is called MK Ultra and other programmings, removing that, and purifying your technologies so that you cannot be programmed through wave frequencies and waveforms and nanotechnology, purifying all of that so it cannot influence humans and cannot hurt their bodies.
What can you tell us about in empowerments for our species?
Seek yourself within. All your knowledge and empowerment is within you. Trusting your own intuition, your own inner guidance, not what other people on the outside say to us to believe. Don't take that in as gospel truth, because connect to your higher selves of who you are. All of us, all living beings have higher selves that guide us, that help us to be on the right paths in life. Trust those higher selves. Trust your spirit guides, your totem animals, your angelic protectors. Trust them and work with them for your inner soul growth and wisdom as they help us grow and expand. And trust in oneself is very important right now in these times of change, to grow as souls and to walk on this ascension path.
How can we help the Aldebaran races?
We already help ourselves. When you think of us and when somebody comes to our solar system, that they have pure thoughts and pure intentions. If they have negative intentions, they are not welcomed. So people need to be of positive light, of positive vibration when they visit us. We welcome those of positive light and of positive vibration. Those that are of a negative vibration and have a negative frequency, we will look at them to provide them healing. If they refuse healing, they will be turned away and not welcomed in Aldebaran. We are here to help purify species, to help them evolve, and to avoid what happened in the Vril society, as that was coerced by your Earth factions from Germany, US, and other countries. There was many things going on behind the scenes, so we wish to avoid that. That is why whoever has psionic contact with us, we look at their soul core energies to make sure they are of benevolent intentions And if not, we try to heal, offer healing to purify what is not benevolent. Then if they accept, we welcome them. If not, we do not allow them to come into our solar system anymore.
What advice do you give in Path of Evolution?
Walk your true path, walk your highest self, your higher self. Allow yourself to be the true you that you should be. Listen within your inner guidance and your soul prerogative and mission, because your soul knows what the beacon of light is and the path to follow on the evolutionary scale. Trust your inner guidance, trust yourselves, trust your higher protectors and your higher selves as they give great wisdom for the soul growth and the soul evolution. And keep in mind, removing all exterior programming is very important for higher soul evolution. There are many red flags being triggered on your planet of various forms and things. So not buying into the false flag events and understanding that most of it is false flag and they're distractions, not to distract you from soul evolution. So do not buy in and listen to those things, as they create a lot of falsehoods and a lot of confusion and chaos in the minds of humans and emotions. So emotional balance and stability is important for your highest evolution right now. Not being coerced into fear and being scared of things that are false flag events that will not take down humanity.
Did you know Earth before she became a planet?
I knew of Earth's creation in the future, yes, but I wasn't connected to Mother Gaia energetically. I knew of her creation in the future, yes, I knew of her creation and how that would become and how that would be done, but I know of her now and her frequencies, and she wants the light, more than 50%, to enter into all of humanity and evolve them in the evolutionary light spectrum, as this is what will upgrade the DNA strands from 4th to 6th and 12th on your psionic evolution and your awakening.
What can you tell us about psychic energy and the evolutionary empowerment of that?
Psychic energy comes in many different levels of form and frequency and patterns. If you nurture it, it grows and expands. If you limit it, it becomes latent and harder to activate. So all beings have psychic abilities. It is a natural flow. It is just how open you are to it and expanding it and learning it. It is important to learn energy flow, to expand energy horizons and horizons. One moment, physical being is asking to. Okay, good. Getting back. So energy expansion happens by working with your inner soul vibration, your inner crystalline cores, which you all have, and you can tap into the crystalline cores and expand psychic or psionic vibrations to open the third eye, the pineal gland, the crown chakra, and the amygdala. A lot of psionic ability is in the thalamus and the amygdala, not just the pineal gland. So keeping yourself pure with good foods, organic foods, good drinking water, it helps the physical body be a clean temple, a clean vessel, and that helps to open up and expand psionic abilities and the willingness to learn what energy is, how energy flows, and how that connects with your psionics is the most important factor in evolution, in your expansion. The willingness to learn to expand psionics, not to just think you are given these abilities instantly to have. It does involve work on the soul frequency with the human body. And when both are attuned and crystalline energetics are attuned and vibrating precisely, That is when your psionic abilities expand and your soul growth evolution expands to its highest forms and potentials. The willingness to learn is very key to expand your abilities.
Thank you.
What is your knowledge on miracle technology?
Miracle technology?
You know, or the technology of miracles.
Miracles happen when people wish for soul expansion and soul graduation. Miracles are higher dimensional frequencies that one can embody through manifestation, as above, so below, as above to below. That saying, it really is connected to miracles, as all miracles are vibrational expansion of energies. As above, so below. What is above in the energetic realms, those are miracles. Those are energies waiting for humans to access and to manifest into their realities. If you ask for a miracle, if you pray to higher source creation, being to the one above, the source creator, that is source creation energy that you are tapping into. That is a miracle in of itself, that energy. If you tap into it and embody it within yourself, you are creating your own miracles. So the human body is a vessel of miracles itself, because it can tap into various energies and miracle energies to manifest them. As above, so below. You can tap into your own miracles, into those frequencies, and create it through manifestation, from the energetics to the physical, to the healing, to manifesting things, to creating things in life. Those are all miracles you tap into psionically. You are your own vessel of miracle technology. You embody that energy already.
What can you tell us about our DNA connection, like the human species DNA connection to Aldebaran, and like what is that open up to us?
You have 4% Aldebaran DNA connection active in most human bodies to us, and you can expand that by connecting to the light of Aldebaran. To Berthera, you can connect to me in the light of creation and expand that DNA capacity to more than 4%. Just know my name, my light green energy, connect to that and expand your DNA sequencing and work on having greater light of that green DNA infusion in your bodies to activate higher frequency DNA of Aldebaran or Aldebaran.
What are some of the capacities of it that come to your mind in what you want to share?
Do you mean DNA frequency capacities?
Yeah.
Working with different frequencies of water magic, of crystalline magic. This is what this Aldebaran DNA can activate and do. Changing weather patterns, creating things with your thoughts, with your mind. The DNA can upgrade those things to do. And for people to see the higher picture of reality, to see things from 4th and 5th dimensional perspectives in their minds without having to write all this down and plan it out. Those are the things you could do with Aldebaran DNA upgrades and light codes of Berthera.
Interesting. What can you tell us about the DNA magic of Aldebarans?
We can manipulate DNA magic to anything that we want. Our DNA is 24 stranded. It's been evolved for eons now. We can create anything by thought forms. We can create from above, so below very easily. So we can take energy and create it into physicality to manifest whatever we would like, because we are 24 stranded now, most of us in this Berthera birthed hybrids. Anything you wish us to create, we could. We can change realities, we can change timelines, we can avoid wars, we can avoid planetary destructions, we are creator beings, as you would call them. We can create anything we want or dissolve it and make new creation. We can make changes in timelines and time travel and frequencies. We can heal. We can expand our regenerative capacities and live longer in our bodies and not be hurt by diseases. We can change our thought forms, and we can change our physical forms to be someone else, to look like someone else, change our thought patterns to connect with other beings and sense what they think and communicate telepathically. Though we have many abilities with this 20-stranded DNA that we have evolved over eons. It is beautiful perfection.
Thank you. What do you tune into in wisdom that can be shared with humanity to help them through this time period?
All is one. We are one. We are not segregated, separate species. We are all one, no matter the life situations. There's no division between race. You are one species on Earth. Though you come from many genetic lineages of different beings, you are still one race on Earth. You are one, united as one, and you can stand as one against any incursions, any false flag events. Do not be scared of what comes externally on the Earth. That is not the future of the Earth. Those are just red flag events, false flags. And you, as a oneness of the species, are awakening and realizing what these falsehoods are, the awakening community. There's more of you waking up every day, so the light is reaching you, and you gain the higher awareness to protect yourselves and not fall for the various false flags events of what we will call the vaccine and the sea, not to ruin anything for anyone. So we will just use your terms, alternative terms for these things. Those are some of the events that are not of truth and light. So you are aware of these things and these incursions and how to avoid them as one.
How do we tap more into the truth?
Listen intuitively. You are all intuitives. You can all tap into any truth that you feel. If it feels like falsehood, then that is not the truth. If it feels like light and the truth, it is the soul truth. So follow your own intuition and tapping into the frequencies of what is true and what is false. Your discernment is what gives you the navigational factor to discern truth or untruths. And there's also black and gray in between. So use those intuitive abilities and that natural discernment you all have as humans to see what is truth and what is falsehood. Trust your inner self to see the truth and what truth is or not. We all have that crystalline light core energy that powers the soul and the body, and that knows the truth. So tapping into that will tell you what is truth and what is not.
Thank you. Sean, do you have any last questions or?
What do you recommend for welling up the power within to overcome any challenge or to bring light and fuel to the body to bring it to the in bursts of evolution?
Look at your own light codes within the DNA frequencies that are ready, that the humans or any other species incarnate with whenever they take on human vessels or other vessels of life. Look within what energy frequencies are there. Everyone has different colors of their genetics, their DNA, their aura fields. Tap within that to harvest the true potential of the soul monad, of those energies. They heal the body, they fuel the soul, expand those energies and build layers onto them, light layers of those colors that are within your particular vessels. Every vessel will be different, so the light codes will be different. You can grow them, layer them, and expand to fuel the soul growth, to fuel the abilities. Energy is what expands you within. So tap into that inner energy, tap within the universe frequencies, as you can get energies, light codes from planets, from moons, from the whole universe or other universes. As long as it feels positive energy, you can tap into those energies from the sun. Anywhere that is living and alive has energy flow. You can tap into that, bring it into your own light codes and those frequencies of what powers your body, and expand that out and mix it and fuel the soul that way to your highest capacities.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Besides speaking with Earth, you're the second planet that I've ever spoken with. So I appreciate hearing your wisdom today. Thank you.
And thank you. May I leave now?
Yes. That is like so fascinating how you're able to just go into that mode, connect to that consciousness, and be able to communicate and channel. It's really, really a beautiful gift.
Well, thank you. I don't do active channeling much, so I just do it privately, really. I don't do it on shows. I don't believe that this gift should be used for public things. So it's very private to me and it's very sacred. So, and I only connect to positive beings. Like if the energy is positive, I will connect to it and I will allow it to come in. If it's not positive, I don't, because it can be dangerous to channel. So I try my best to, I see it as a gift and I don't overuse this ability.
So if somebody wanted to contact you for private channeling, that's something that you would be open to?
It's on a case-by-case basis. Like people can request, like they can ask, they can contact me in an email, and I would like to know who they want to channel before I do a session, because sometimes it's appropriate to channel that being and sometimes it's not. So I do look at it on a case-by-case basis. Some things I might not channel, depends on what the person is asking for. And some things I might. So it's very, I try my best to make sure I have an idea what somebody wants to be channeled before I agree to anything.
Okay. So if anyone is watching this and you're just fascinated by Ileana and how she channels, just keep that in mind, that she doesn't do it all the time and it's on a case-by-case basis.
Yeah. It's part of my ability and what I can do, but it's really special. And so I kind of like to know what the person wants to channel before I agree to anything.
And you probably don't want to do it for long periods of time too, because I'm sure it's probably a little exhausting on your human body.
Yeah, I do between 30 minutes, 45 minutes to an hour. That's my preference of how long I prefer to channel. And again, it really depends on what people want to channel. Sometimes it's intuitive channeling. Sometimes it's a being. I'm channeling a being, or because a planet is a being. It's a sentient living being. So, but this is my first time channeling a planet. So usually it's good if somebody has a name of the being or the place they want me to channel, because I can easier connect with that. So it was important for Sean to give me some information to what I would be connecting to understand the connection. Otherwise, if I don't really understand the connection, then the quality of the channeling might be higher or lower. So I need to understand what is it that I'm connecting to, because I'm going away. When I channel, I go away and the being comes in. But as the conduit for the channeling, I prefer to know what will be channeled or who. And it is my free will choice to decide whether I would like to channel or not. So I am always cognizant of that.
Absolutely. And for people that don't know, like so you channeled a planet, like how would you classify what a planet really is? Because most people are thinking it's a rock that goes around a sun or something like that. But how would you describe like a planet and its personality and how that fits into the universe?
So every planet has its own living frequency vibration. This planet is very much green. It has a lot of water. It introduced itself as Berthera. So I can tap into its frequency, and its frequency is from 12th to 20th dimensional level, from 12th to 20th. So it's a highly evolved planet that creates light. It's when it was created, it's for the designation of life creation, that where beings are birthed. That is its designation. So that's why it's 12th to 20th dimensional energy frequency. I can sense its energy frequency even before I do the channeling. And it felt very positive and beautiful, and that good messages would come in. It felt good and positive. That's why I agreed to channel it. And there's so much soul wisdom coming from that planet. So it felt good for me to channel. So I channeled it.
I could tell too, when you started channeling it, I felt good. I'm like, oh, I could feel the energy and it felt really good.
Yeah, that's what the people around you who are asking for the channeling, that's what they should feel. They should feel positive vibration.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Sean, what are your comments thus far?
I liked it. It was enjoyable. I'll have to like go through the information again and the recording. Yeah, it was nice. Good frequency to lightness to it. So thank you so much for that.
I mean, it's I usually don't publicly channel, like I said, so for me it's something special, and I'll do it when it's for on a higher cause, for something that's really positive and different and new. So that's kind of like I didn't expect to channel today, but it was beautiful. So thank you. That was a beautiful experience.
And I had no idea you'd be channeling a planet. So,
Me neither. I honestly
from
like,
from Aldebaran, of all places.
yeah. So like I said, I've known about Aldebaran, and I've done intuitive channeling on Aldebaran and some of the species there, but I've never channeled planets that are there. So this was new and interesting and exciting for me. But I'm open-minded towards channeling. Like, I don't limit channeling to just people and beings. Sometimes it could be a world or star system, and sometimes it's intuitive channeling, and sometimes it's direct channeling, like what I was doing today. So today's channeling was trans channeling, because I'm connecting to the planet, which is a being, but then I'm leaving and letting it, as the positive being, come into my soul frequency energy and openly channel it. So I'm not impeding any connection. I step aside and allow the being to come in and, communicate with you guys.
Excellent.
Yeah. And I always ask permission. I always ask the planet. In this case, I asked it permission. Would you be comfortable with me channeling you? I psychically asked that. That's what was happening when I was kind of spinning. And when the agreement was made, yes, then the planet came in as feminine energy, and you guys interacted with it. And sometimes I remember what I'm channeling, and sometimes I don't. So I do have the capability to remember. So this time I remembered all of it. So it was very interesting.
Yeah, I have listened to other channelers before, and then when they're done, they have no idea what they said. Like, they'll have to record it and like, oh, that's what I said. So it's cool.
Well, yeah, when it's really important, I have the ability to remember what was channeled in its entirety. And sometimes I don't remember. I remember bits and pieces. It really depends on who's being channeled, what's being channeled, and why.
A hawk just flew by my window. That's cool.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Hawk is wisdom. Hawk is information and knowledge.
Cool.
I'm a Native American trained shaman, so that's why kind of hawks are something. I have a hawk spirit guide. So,
well, I think I might have got a glimpse of that, or the interaction there.
Yeah, Well, it's a sign that this was a good learning experience, learning knowledge and opening up new knowledge.
So Sean, is there anything you'd like to say in conclusion to this
so much
episode?
for, having come on the show and shared your wisdom, many things to break down with it, and really appreciate it. Not many people doing what you can do, so thank you for existing in the world.
Well, thank you. I mean, this is just natural. I don't know how to teach people how to channel. I just know I just organically know the mechanics of channeling. Nobody taught me this. Nobody passed this on to me. It's just an innate ability to channel. I know the mechanics, so I understand how it's done, but it wasn't taught to me professionally. This is just how it is, innate ability. So when people always ask me, well, can you teach me how to do this? I really can't. I just do it organically. So I know the mechanics, but I don't really feel like I need to go and teach it. I don't know, maybe it's not the right time yet, but so for me, it's just very humbling to be able to do this with this ability. It's not anything I take for granted.
We definitely appreciate it here today, without a doubt.
Thank you so much. And it's an innate ability. Like a lot of people who've studied psionics and done psychic development, they go on to do channeling sometimes afterwards, because your psychic ability is the first foundation that you learn, and then channeling is just something naturally that happens for some people as a progression, and they go on to do channeling afterwards. So it's kind of like I found that it combines together. When somebody learns how to be a psychic, some of them go on to learn to be channelers and to channel. It's like the next progression of your evolutionary abilities.
Makes sense.
It activates in the body and you start to communicate with different beings. Channeling is one way to communicate with different beings directly. So that's something I found to be interesting.
Sounds very interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of the little message that was coming in. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Ileana. For those that want to contact you, your information will be at the bottom in the description area of this video. And again, thank you for being on this episode of Symphony of Realities. And it was great to bring in that divine feminine energy from that planet, from Aldebaran.
Well, thank you. And it was a pleasure being on the show with you guys.
Can you say some of the other contacts so that we have those in your plug, besides what's in the description?
Oh, there's something else coming in. Maria Orsic has some Nordic DNA. She has some Nordic DNA. It's interesting. That's why she was tapped into the Vril Society and to connect to some of the Nordics and the sirens, because that Nordic DNA allowed her to form that connection. So that was something that just came in. Sean, can you say something about that?
Yeah, people that are able to get a clear signal. I mean, we're kind of with the humans, we're a little bit of a, super hybrid. So we get a lot of things that we can do. But if you were some other race channeling something and you had less DNA, you'd have less access to channeling more things and talking and communication network. So it's like a greater phone book and connection and clearness to it, and that leads into other perceptionary knowingness and streams. So I agree with that.
Yeah, I think the way she got her information was through intuitive channeling, the schematics for the anti-gravity craft, those ancient languages. It came through intuitive channeling and intuitive automatic writing sometimes, but a lot of the time it was intuitive channeling. So, because I'm like, how did she tap into contact with the Aldebarans? And it was intuitive channeling, automatic writing, and some psychic telepathy as well. So she was using 3 modes of communication to do that, to get all of those schematics and learn about the real energy from the sirens.
Interesting. It almost makes me think that Maria Orsic is someone that wanted to be channeled today too.
Not so much. She just wanted me to pass on that little message about her, psychically connecting to her. And she's like, can you give that message, please? That's something I want you guys to know about. So it's just.
Can you channel a channeling being channeling another being? And like how many?
I know it's one being at a time. It's one loop. It's one channel loop at a time. So
Is it like possible? It's kind of a joke, but I get like channeling a channeler, channeling.
Maybe it is possible, but I understand that our human brains are created to process one thing at a time. I think through channeling, it's one thing at a time. Psychically, I can talk to many different beings all at once and pass on messages because I'm listening and I'm tuned into more than one being. So psychically, I could do that, have a conversation with 2 or 3 or 5 different beings or a whole council and pass on their messages, what they're saying. But when I'm channeling, it's one being, one thing at a time. Because I don't want to blow an energetic fuse in my brain. So I don't want to overstimulate something because I know our human brain is full of synapses and energies. Those have to be calibrated and balanced. It's like a precision tool, calibrated precision tool. So I don't want to disrupt its frequency source. So I respect the body and what the human body is in the vessel. So one being at a time, please, for channeling. I don't want to experiment with having 2 beings come in. As I understand it, when somebody's channeling, it's one being, or sometimes it's a collective of beings that are together and they're connected psychically and they're like as one saying something. Could be many beings, but they're a collective of one, and the channeler is picking up on that and channeling the collective. But it's connected, they're all connected to each other as one mind in the collective. So it's really interesting. So to answer Sean's question, sometimes a channeler, when they're channeling a collective, many beings speak as one, and you're receiving their messages, comes in through the channeling. So theoretically, I think it's possible when it's a collective of beings talking as one. So I think it can be done, Sean. But usually I just do one being at a time for channeling.
Yeah, Sean's always trying to push the limits.
That's okay. Well, I mean, it was an interesting question. Yeah. And Maria Orsic was saying, she's still here and listening. She was saying when it's a collective of beings, they're all their individual beings acting as one collective to pass on their messages. So when somebody channels a collective, they're channeling many different beings who speak as one to us and give the information. So it is possible, Sean.
If Maria is still here, does she want to say anything else? Does she want to set the record straight about anything about her that people may have misunderstood?
She had the best of intentions with what she was channeling in terms of the anti-gravity craft schematics and the languages. She had the best of intentions, but the real society was infiltrated, and this information was not meant for German Nazis, for the SS. It was not meant to be used that way, but it was. So they inverted what she channeled and used it in the wrong way. It wasn't meant to be like that. It was meant for this technology to help the whole world. It wasn't meant for just Germany. It was meant for everyone. So she just wants everyone to know that what she channeled was subverted for negative uses when she didn't intend for that to happen. And she escaped. Basically, she was running for her life and escaped into Aldebaran and rejoined her Nordic family because she wasn't welcomed here anymore because of the subversion, what happened in the real society. So she was targeted for elimination. So that's why she left. She left a few children behind, actually, but they were hidden, so they were safe.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that the day comes when we actually do get anti-gravity technology, you know, for humanity instead of just it being a secret government type thing.
Well, it's no longer a secret because Salvador Pius, I don't know if that's his real name or not, there's patents out on TR3Bs, you know, the triangular stuff.
Yeah, sure.
And so the Navy has already revealed the patents that it's possible to do this. So it's not really a secret anymore. It's just floating out there until we need to do it. And we actually do, because we shouldn't be using fossil fuels anymore. So this is kind of like breadcrumbs of disclosure coming out about anti-gravity, torsion fields, TR3Bs, fusion drives, fusion engines. It's like the patents are out there. So it's like the groundwork is being built for anti-gravity tech. I was told 2040 that this would happen. Sean, how about you? When is anti-gravity tech coming out? What do you sense?
Constant ebb and flow. So I kind of gave up predicting it. And I also, like, when I get into major action, then the prediction usually gets thrown out the window. So I keep going into more action to bring it closer, which takes taking out the parasitic control systems that want to suppress free energy,
Yeah.
to movement vehicles be able to freely travel, and the domination of our society in limiting our progress to just 1% of itself. So I mean, that's not just like if all the parasitic multidimensional beings involved in that are trying to influence and puppet the chess game of humanity resolve and release out of that, the influence goes down, and because only like a little small percentage of humans actually care to hold that back. So it's mostly them. So if they go away, then that like frees up the timeline to go a lot sooner.
Mm-hmm. Well, I was psychically told 2040 would be the pinnacle point where we have to stop using fossil fuels, as it's not viable for this planet. The planet cannot sustain that kind of pollution anymore. Global warming is real, and it's partly because of fossil fuel burning and using fuel in cars and plants and stuff. So it's not sustainable beyond 2040 to do that anymore. So this is when anti-gravity technology has to come out and start being used and implemented on this particular planet. It has to. So that's psychically what I see, 2040 as the timeline parameter for this to start to be implemented. But don't quote me on timelines and dates again. It's just psychically what comes up when I look at this. And I'm not making a prediction. I'm just saying 2040 would be the pivotal point where this change has to come in for anti-gravity tech to start being used on this planet to evolve us as a species. So the technology has to catch up and change the way we do things on this planet. So that's kind of what I'm psychically getting. And again, dates can change, like Sean said. Trying to predict a certain date, it's like trying to find a needle in a haystack, because timelines change and things in time change and space changes. And our planetary evolution is about knowing the truth. We want the truth about anti-gravity tech. We at least need to know the truth of what we can do with it. And then it starts happening and the tech comes out. So it's like disclosure has to continue moving forward. That's important. That's key for us in our evolution out of fossil fuels and other things that are no longer serving us. So I think that's my message where I'd like to leave it at.
Well, I hope it's before 2040.
We wish. We all wish, yeah. So that was just a psychic date that came in. So, you know, let's hope it's before that. Mm-hmm.
All right.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Ileana.
Hope you have a wonderful day, and Yeah. Are you able to like, we'll have in the description, are you able to plug how people can reach you so they know if how they don't see the description?
Yeah, they can find me by messages from a star traveler. That's what my website is. They can reach me at seekingthetruthinreality@gmail.com. So that's my information. Sean, how can you be reached?
Sonicleague.com, Sonic League YouTube. How about you, Chris?
Quantumbusinessman.com or in YouTube, just typing in Quantum Businessman. You'll see my videos come up.
Yeah, I have a YouTube channel as well, Awakening Cosmic Reality Show. So I have many videos and interviews. Sean's there too. Chris, I hope I could post this too on my channel.
Absolutely, yes.
Great.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. Thank you.
Have a good one. Later.